Hi guys, welcome to our assembly. I know I keep saying good morning and welcome you to our assembly because I record these in the morning, but sometimes you don't watch them in the morning and I say good morning and it's the afternoon and it gets all confusing for everybody. But it's an assembly and we're going to have a little bit of a more think about friendship because that was what we were talking about on Monday. So I'm going to read you a little bit of a poem today because sometimes a bit of poetry is just a good thing to do. So let's have a look at this one. Here we go. Start at the beginning. Here's our picture that we've got of some friends. And before we start our poem, have a look at the picture, have a look at our global goals of good health and well-being, reduced inequalities and peace, justice and strong institutions. And what do all of those people in that picture have in common? Turn to your partners, tell everybody, what do they all have in common? And in fact, actually, the thing they've got in common is that they are all different. We've got people with different coloured skin, different genders, and it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter whether we're black or white, whether we're able-bodied or not able-bodied, whether we're male or female, we can all be friends. And if we do that, then we will all be well, happy, and gives us good mental health. We're reducing inequalities because we're saying actually it doesn't matter who we're friends with, and it keeps us happy, so we live in a peaceful place. Okay, so that's really, really important. And you guys have got a really big job because some of you are back in class with your friends and you haven't seen your friends for a really long time. So it's important that we get back on with people. And some people have moved up into a different class and they're not with the same people they were with before. So you guys have got a big job to do because you need to think about how you're making new friends, and you've got to put in a big effort into making new friends, and that can be really tough. That can be really difficult, but if you're strong, you can do that. So let's have a think about what a friend could be. So F is for faithful. They're loyal to the end. R is for reliable. They're true and don't pretend. I is for the interest in sharing thoughts with you. E is for enjoyment, whatever you might do. N is for neighbourly, they're kind in every way. D is for dependable, on every single day. S is for that special friend you know is always there, the one who makes you happy, and you know will always care. So it's a nice poem, and it's nice to have something that rhymes. It's lovely to listen to. But let's have a quick think about what some of that means. Faithful, they're loyal to the end. And that's about a friend who will stick with you and how you stick with that person. Reliable, they're true and they don't pretend, they don't lie to you about things, they're honest with you. And I and E for the interest in sharing thoughts with you, and E for enjoyment, whatever you might do. I think those are really important. So these first two are about a really good friend, and sometimes it takes a long time to get that really good friendship. But this one is really important because you can do that with absolutely anybody. You can share thoughts with anybody. You can enjoy being with anybody. Okay, and those two are really, really important. And actually N for neighbourly and being kind. If you're kind to somebody, you can be kind to anybody. And those three about sharing thoughts, enjoying being with people, being kind to people, that's what helps us to make a new friend. Okay, and that's what's really, really important in this. So you can have a special friend, you can have a best friend, but actually you can make new friends. And those three things are really, really important when you make new friends. You can be interested in what other people do. You can talk to them and say, how are you? What did you do last night? You can enjoy playing things. You can say, well, I know that person isn't my best friend, but you know what? I'm going to go play TIG with them. Or that person's on their own on the playground. I'm going to see if they want to throw the ball with me. And they're kind in every single way. If that person is alone on the playground, you're being kind by going to say, are you all right? Do you want to come and play with me? And if somebody says, are you all right? Do you want to come and play with me? And you're on your own, then it's a really good thing to do, to say, yes, please, that would be really, really lovely. Thanks very much. So let's stop sharing that one. Okay. Now, there's a bit of a story from the Bible that I'm going to share with you, okay? And it's a story from the book of Luke. And there were 4 friends who regularly helped and took care of their friend because he'd been paralyzed. He was unable to walk. So you've got to remember this story is set 2,000 years ago. So there weren't wheelchairs around at the time. And people with disabilities had to rely on their friends, had to rely on their family. And there wasn't the access to modern technology, okay, that would help us to make a wheelchair or things like that, or crutches or whatever. So there were 4 people who helped and took care of their friend who'd been paralyzed. And they've been that way for many, many years. And they'd heard about a guy called Jesus. Okay, and Jesus was able to perform miracles. He could make blind people see, he could make deaf people hear, he could cure people with diseases, and he could even raise people from the dead, bring people back to life. And these men loved their friend and felt convinced that he too could be cured. And when they heard that Jesus was teaching nearby, they were determined to find him. So they carried their paralyzed friend on a mat, tied him onto the mat with ropes, one at each corner to secure him, and they carried him to a house in Capernaum, where Jesus was teaching people about God. So he was secure on the mat, couldn't fall off, and carried him to this place. There was a huge crowd crammed into the building, listening and hoping to see some of the miracles that Jesus was becoming famous for. And the 4 friends couldn't get anywhere nearby. They were really disappointed, but determined to reach Jesus, and one of them had a really big idea. Okay, in those days, most houses had a flat roof, not a pitched roof like that. It was flat on top. And it was reached by an outside staircase. So they went up the outside stairs, and the roof was covered with a thick coating of mud on a layer of reeds. So once they were on the roof, they were able to scrape the mud away and make a large hole and big enough to lower their friend down in front of Jesus' feet. And Jesus was really, really moved. He was really touched by the efforts, by the trouble that those 4 friends had taken. And he knew they had complete faith in his ability to heal their friend. So he said, "My friend, your sins are forgiven. Pick up your bed and walk." And the crowd watched in amazement. Some of them had known how ill the man had been. They watched as the feeling came back into the man's once useless feet and legs, and then he slowly began to get up. He stood up straight, picked up his mat, and walked away, thanking Jesus and praising God. And some of Jesus' enemies who saw what had happened were angry. Jesus knew this, but wanted to demonstrate that his power to heal was a visible sign that he was indeed the Son of God. And it was the loyalty of his friends and the faith they had in him that encouraged Jesus to perform the miracle. So have a think about, were there good friends in this story? Yeah, I think there were. There were people who looked after their mate and did something for him, made sure he was okay. So think about your friends. What makes a good friend? And think about you. Okay, how can you be a good friend? Now, you might be missing one of your friends who's in a different class, and because of the way our school is at the moment, we can't mix with people in different classes. Okay, so what can you do? What makes you special? What makes you a really lovely person to spend time with? Do you like playing skipping games? Can you play skipping games with other people? Do you like playing football? Can you play football with somebody else who's not one of your normal friends because you're in a different class? Okay, you can be a really good friend. You have got the ability to be a really special person. Okay, and that is going to make other people want to spend time with you, and that's what's really important. So you've got a really big job to do, guys. You need to be a good friend to other people, because people aren't going to come up to you and want to be your friend just because you sit there going, boom. You've got to make the effort to be a good friend yourself. Okay, and when you do that, when you make that effort, that's when other people will like you even more than they already do. Okay, so the 4 friends in this story went to a massive effort. They worked really hard to be good friends, and that's what's important in our story today. In our assembly today, it's about taking an interest in people, enjoying being with other people, and being kind to other people. And if you do that, other people will treat you in exactly the same way. Okay, there we go, guys. That's our assembly for today. See you around school. See you soon. Bye-bye.